Yeah. Thank you for applauding at the appropriate time. Yeah, bonus points if you could do that all the way through. That would be lovely. Yeah. So yeah, I'm Joel. I am the CEO at Switchplane. Sounds very posh. It's not really. My day job, I guess, is split half kind of promoting the business, half critiquing code, as Lewis described it, although not his, obviously, because it's amazing. But what I do in my day job, when I'm not promoting the business, is working with other businesses. My job is to help them grow, help them to become more efficient. And you'll have heard, I've written down here, some people call it systemization, some people call it digitization, some people even call it digitalization, which is an odd term. Some people call it digital transformation. It's all the same thing. The idea is we build stuff that makes businesses more effective and thereby they can grow. I've got my obligatory plug that Sarah Cronk asks for. You can scan that lovely QR code that will take you to my LinkedIn screen, and you can push that follow button, and that will keep Sarah happy when she's looking at our analytics stats. I'm going to start by working out which button to push to advance the slides. Okay, that's back. I'm going to go forward. I'm going to start with a story. This is Alice. It's not a real person, based on a real person. And Alice, she's a bit fed up, to be honest. She's cross with her boss, doesn't like her boss. And this is quite a common way for people to start a business, is that they get fed up with their existing boss and they think, I can do it better. How hard can it be? They don't realise just how hard it can be. And so what Alice is doing is she starts to try and spend all her time trying to land that first customer. And that's go back, so I want to go forwards. So I've got this kind of diagram here of how Alice is spending her time. So what's she doing? Okay, so she, in order to win new business, she does what most businesses do and prices herself really cheap. Think, okay, I'm cheap. Yes, I will get business. Okay, classic mistake. But what does happen is she does get some new business. Yeah, great, amazing. Well done to Alice. She's got her first few clients, and we think, all good? Is that all good? Well, I've written down here, nope. No, it's not all good. She's got a load of work to do now. Oh, that's a bit rubbish, having all this work to do. So what happens? The scales. Thank you. Who was that? Thank you for cheering at the appropriate time. Yeah, she's now spending all her time on the tools, right? And some of you will know where this is going. So I've got a few notes here. She used to be really quick at doing her estimating, okay? Estimating either doesn't happen or takes her ages to do it. She used to be really quick at responding to customers. She doesn't have the time to do that anymore because she's on the tools. She used to see her friends and family. I know how many people who've started a business and then don't have time to go to the park with their, or do whatever. It's a really, really sad story. So yeah, what happens? Well, customers inevitably get fed up with her. And to make matters worse, right, because she's not spending any time promoting the business, what happens? Thank you. Yeah, no business is coming in. So she ends up in this kind of loop here, and I've written a note here to sort of cycle backwards and forwards to demonstrate the loop, right? This is what happens, okay? And so yeah, moving on. So this is what I mean when I'm talking about the busy fool, okay? Now at this point, this is where I ask, does anyone recognise this situation? Anyone been in this situation? Thank you for raising your hand at the appropriate time. Anyone else like to confess that that's where they are? Yeah. Lots of hands going up. It's a really common trap, and so yeah, it's all gone to cock. What do we do? How do we solve this problem? Alice needs to kind of find a balance between promoting the business and working on the tools. So how do we do it? And some of you are thinking, well, this is a talk about systemization. So obviously what we're going to do is do some systemization. No, No, we're going to come on to that in a minute. There's a critical step that Alice has to do first. I wonder if anyone wants to take a punt as to what that might be. Christina.
Work out what she needs. Work out what she needs to do the job.
That's not the answer I'm looking for, but it's a great answer. Christina?
I put her prices up.
Thank you. That is the answer I was looking for. She needs to increase her prices, right? What we have here is a matter of supply and demand, ultimately, okay? So she's proved that she can go out and win business, okay? So there's obviously a demand out there. She left her job because she was fed up with her boss and thought she could do it better. So she obviously feels that she can supply, no problem. And so what do? Well, you've got to balance them. And this is the critical bit. You need to do this properly. You can't systemize until you've done this. You need a decent margin and you need a business model that works. So if you don't have a decent business model that works, then don't come running to me. I can't help you with that. You need to go and find a business coach or a strategist or whoever. I mean, I guess you can come in running to me, but that's not the subject of this talk. So if you haven't got a working business model, go and speak to someone else. So Alice increases her prices. Things calm down. Oh no, spoilers. That was close. The challenge here, right? Okay. Well, we've balanced things. Okay. Alice has put her prices up. It's all good. However, all we've done is kind of balance things. Now, at this point, a lot of you are thinking, well, yeah, that sounds like victory. Actually, you know what, we can relax, and we've worked bloody hard to get to this point. Anyone who's started a business, it's like, yes, okay, finally, we've got a bit of balance here. And this is why businesses fail in their first year, is because it's bloody hard to do this. Okay, most businesses will fail, and I've written down here, totally made this statistic up, but maybe 1 in 4 businesses make it to the third year. Christina, you might know the actual figure.
7% fail in the first 3 years.
There you go, thank you, from the horse's mouth. There we go. Sorry, Christina, did I just compare you to a horse on video? I'm so sorry. But anyway, despite all that hard work and all that effort, Alice is effectively standing still. Now, that's okay for some, I guess, but this session is about growth, right? Not standing still. We are all, super ambitious people. We want to grow our businesses, especially you, Sarah. I can see you. That was your ambitious face. And anyone who knows anything about business or has been in business a while knows that if you're standing still, well, the reality is, in fact, you are moving backwards because your competitors change what they're doing, how they approach things, society changes. So how do we do this? Well, Tom, someone, the wigs. I need the wigs. Find the wigs. Spoilers. Well, to grow the business, Alice needs to increase her sales output and her delivery output at the same time. So thank you, Lewis. Thank you. So what do we do? Alice needs a bit of external consultancy. Here we go. I know. Thank you. I love the way you guys are making all the noises at the right time. Like, how do we open this? But anyway, it's got a hairnet on it. Jesus Christ. There we go. Right. Okay. Here we go. This is my Isaac Newton wig. Okay. So here we go. Thank you. Right. So Alice picks up the phone.
It's a price tag on the front.
Yeah. Okay. Thanks. Yeah. I will. I'll send it back to Amazon after this. God, I can't see you. So she picks up the phone, calls in. First of all, she calls in Sir Isaac Newton. There he is. Look at him. He's a good-looking bloke, isn't he? And then Ronald McDonald as well. He's next on the list. We're going to talk about Isaac Newton first. Now, right. Okay. Slide. It says slide. Here we go. So Newton, he spent a lot of time wasting his time, I would say, on gravity. But he also had an actual job. He had a proper job. He was warden of the Royal Mint, which meant his job was literally to make money. Literally, that was not a metaphor. He literally made money. Okay. Now, when he was appointed as warden of the Royal Mint, this is what they call a sinecure, which is one of these ceremonial positions where, you know, it's like, I don't know, insert Tory political joke here about funding your mates. Thank you, Brian. Thank you. But, you know, Newton being Newton, he decided he would do things a bit differently. Now, when Newton took over, okay, the Mint was in serious trouble. There's a great book about this called Newton and the Counterfeiter. Go and get it on Amazon. There was widespread counterfeiting, okay, and people were kind of clipping the coins when you like scrape off the edges, and stealing the metal because they were literally made. I know, Sarah, it's an outrage. And so what Newton did is he took his brain and he got stuck in. So what he did, he analysed each step of coin production, from sourcing the metal to striking the coin. He introduced standards for processes, for quality and for tooling, and he used a scientific approach to make decisions and improve processes. And today, we would call all of those things systemisation, okay? We work out where we're spending our time. We decide what we need to fix, and then we fix it, and we verify that our fix did what we expected to happen. So I've got some stats here. So in the 3-year period, 1696, I think Newton took over, and what he did was in that 3-year period from 1696, Newton reissued the entire country's stock of silver currency, and he delivered £5 million of coin in 3 years, compared with 3 million delivered in the preceding 35 years. So that's almost 20 times the productivity. And at the same, and he did it whilst at the same time reducing the counterfeiting and eliminating the clipping problem. So it's a double improvement. So not only did he improve productivity, he raised standards and reduced fraud as well. Wig, here we go. Here we go. I know. Yes, it's Ronald's turn. Here he is. So here we go. Ronald, there we go. Right, so channel, you're in a Ronald McDonald. So, well, I mean, I've written it down there, like a bloke in a clown suit and a bunch of teenagers, and they run the most successful fast food restaurant in the world, I think, give or take. I mean, I'm making some of these stats up, but I'm pretty sure he's up there anyway. But I did do some research, and I've got some actual stats here. So Ronald's got 40,000 stores, employs about 2 million people, and he feeds around 70 million people each day. It's quite a lot. That's like the entire population of the UK, well, more, being fed each day. So how the hell does a bloke in a clown suit and a bunch of teenagers manage to do that? Well, I mean, Ronald, he's got some serious OCD. That's where it starts. He's obsessed, absolutely obsessed with standards and checklists. And so, for instance, you get the same amount of mustard and ketchup every time. They've got these kind of dispensers, which so when you dispense, you push the little button and it comes out, and it's the exact same amount. And there's a correct ratio of Coke syrup to fizzy water, 5-1. Tom, is it something? Yeah, something like that. 5 fizzy water to 1 Coke syrup, not the other. That would be insane. The other way around. There are 5 characteristics of the perfectly cooked French fry. I have a little slide here, which lists them: hot, golden brown, lightly salted, mealy interior, and a good separation of interior and exterior fry. And you know, he structures things in the restaurant so that there's this continual training, continual feedback. So you know all the stars. See all the stars. Do they still do stars? And all the different coloured badges. Well, you earn the next level up by passing these things called OCLs, observation checklists. Okay, and where the managers and the trainers, there's a training squad. They evaluate the crew members. They're continually checking that the standard is being met, and it's tied to pay as well. So the more stars you get, you get the pay rise. And just to prove it works, I worked there 20 years ago. Well, maybe 21 years ago. And I didn't have to look up the 5 characteristics. This is me bragging. I could remember them. And what that does, it demonstrates to me how effective it is to set the standard and then have it continually reinforced. 20 years later, you can still remember it. I can still remember the sort of the grill temperatures, how they're supposed to be, the timing, all of that kind of stuff. It's all up there. So,
Excuse me.
hello.
Can you explain the good separation of interior and exterior?
No, I can't. No one knows what it means.
If you break the McDonald's fry in half, the exterior is really crispy, the interior is fluffy, and they are slightly separated.
There you go.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it's just exactly. It's a difference in in texture. Yeah,
No, I just eat a lot of it.
that's right. Yeah. It's for those of you who don't know, Tom works with us at Switchplane. It's day 1 at Switchplane is learning the 5 characteristics of the perfectly cooked French fry. So anyway, so Alice, I think I can take my wig off now. She puts on her thinking cap, okay, and she comes up with some process improvements. Here we go. Okay, so first up, here we go, right. She realizes that her sales process sucks. Okay, so this is actually a real example of a real client that we've worked with. So here's the before. Taking sort of 6 weeks to turn around her quotes, because it required a site visit, going out there, collating information, liaising with the right people, doing chasing email, blah, 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 all the rest of it. 6 weeks from that first contact to closing the client. And we've got that down with a bit of systemization, digital systemization in this case. 1 week, often the same day, in fact, less email, less chasing. So the outcome here, right, it's reduced costs, faster service, and less mental energy required as well. Next one, okay, Alice, again, a real example here. In Alice's sector, it's quite difficult to raise your prices, not because people won't pay more, but because it's just a pain having to literally manage the process of communicating with your clients and saying, oh, sorry, by the way, the prices are going up, this is what your new contract's going to be, etc. So getting all of that process happening. So again, real example, real client that we worked with, we did this. So the before, just not possible, couldn't do it. Or if you did, it was piecemeal and, Now, we have the nice little digital system, which raises your prices each year. The outcome here is there's no margin erosion. Okay, anyone working in a business where there's continual margin erosion, pain in the backside, right? The only solution is you have to raise your prices each year. And so she's more profitable as a result. And this is the kicker, really, the next one here. And this is kind of the hidden benefit, really, of systemization, is that it unlocks, I say it unlocks growth, okay? But what it's doing, it's unlocking things that you previously could not do, which allow you to further improve your business. So we've unlocked growth. So with the 2 examples above, we've got higher prices, for one thing, and a quicker sales process. And what that means is that Alice can now look at her work and say, okay, well, actually, you know what? I'm going to turn away stuff that's not profitable. I'm going to get rid of it. So she's declining work that's a long way away because she's confident her sales process will help her to win that work closer. Okay. So the before is she was spending time spent on travel, money spent on fuel, slow to get to her call outs. Afterwards, she's got 20% more capacity because she's doesn't have that dead time anymore. She's spending less money on fuel, and ultimately she's providing a better service because she can get to places quicker. So the outcome here is she's shifted travel time to, in this case, engineering time, lower fuel cost, faster emergency service. So to recap, that's what I mean when I say Alice has unlocked growth via systemization. We're doing things we couldn't do before, significantly more profitable. And then here's the good bit, you can then take that cash and then use it elsewhere in the business. So promoting the business, hiring, training, and on more process improvements. I'm just going to take a sip of water. Okay, so 10 minutes to go. Okay, so, I mean, how do we start? Okay, so systemization glory, that's what we're aiming for. 3 steps. This is where it gets just a little bit technical, not software technical, but maybe business technical. So we won't spend too much time on it. And as I say, if you want to know more, come and find me afterwards, connect with me on LinkedIn, we can have a chat. First one, business process mapping. Here we go, fancy term. It just means write down how your business works. Sorry, excuse me. So, what are all the steps that your business has to go through to find a customer and deliver your product? And all you do here is just create a flowchart. You can here we go, it's a convenient pad, we can do it on there. What we're doing is the 5 Ws, you've probably come across the 5 Ws, there they are, and then there's the bonus H that comes in there. You look at each step and you write your 5 Ws down alongside it. Doesn't need to be fancy pants, you don't need to use fancy software to do this, you can literally just go and buy a load of post-its and stick them up on a wall, organise them in the order that things happen. And also, you don't need to do everything in the entire business. So I would recommend, okay, that you start with inquiry received. Well, in this case, I've got order received on the slide, but inquiry received. And you work through from that point until, well, I've said until invoice, but you might want to do until invoice is paid. And the reason that you start there and not elsewhere in the business is that part of the business is kind of the critical money engine in the business. Okay, that's the bit that actually makes money. So any improvements you make to those is going to be very, very valuable. Bonus tip, involve your team. Okay, if you do have a team, your team will know that day-to-day stuff way better than you do. Way better, because they're kind of at the coalface, so to speak. Anyone have any dinosaurs in their organisation? I heard a lot about dinosaurs today. Brian was talking about dinosaurs in his talk. They're your enemy at this point because they can kind of resist change. I didn't have a dinosaur costume on hand. If I did, I'd definitely be wearing it. Okay, so we've written everything down. We've got our business processes in place. And then the next step, this is kind of the technical bit. This is kind of the analysis bit. I've written an example here on the slide. What we're trying to do here is just understand the pain of your task. So pain is effectively how much, how important is it? Is it critical to the business? This example here on the screen is credit control. It's really important. Anyone here think credit control isn't important in their business? No, definitely a 10 out of 10 important. Why don't people just pay the invoice when you send them the invoice? Why do you have to say, oh, by the way, I sent you that invoice. Any chance you could actually pay it? Swearing optional. But actually, it's quite an easy task, generally. As long as you've got good communication skills and you're persistent, you have to do it constantly, all the time. Never ends, does it? But each instance of doing it is actually relatively straightforward, sending an email, making a phone call. So I rate that 26 out of 40, kind of a medium pain task. And it's really important you only estimate these figures. We're not trying to get maximum accuracy. Exact figure doesn't matter. All you want to do is to be able to compare different tasks within the business. And then can we fix it? Here, what we're trying to do is to work out what the effort is that's required to solve the problem, okay? And this is where you might need to get some experts in, you might need some external support. There may be companies out there that can do a thing really cheap that you can't. But again, don't get bogged down with accuracy. And it's also written a note here that funding and R&D tax relief can actually reduce the cost here of tasks. So go speak to your accountant if you've got a project in mind. And then what you end up with here is a thing which I call the mighty and glorious matrix of pain. We love matrices. Matrices in business. You end up with something that looks a bit like this, where you've categorized your tasks. The high pain, easy to fix tasks. These are your quick wins, right? You can do these very quickly, you can solve them. And what they do is you need to jump on these straight away. And the reason we do that is it convinces your dinosaurs in your organization that you can make progress and that this process will work. Okay, if you go to them and say, we're going to do some business process mapping and then we're going to change stuff, then they go, yeah, right, of course we are. The quick wins allow you to overcome that resistance and kind of create this culture of change. And you get some immediate ROI as well. Hard to fix, pain. This is where you need to focus. This is going to be the core part of your business generally, the thing that makes you money. And the reason for that is if it was easy, your customers would just do it themselves. Okay, so this is always going to be your core part of your business, otherwise they wouldn't need you. And if you're finding it difficult, your competitors likely are. So any improvements you make there are going to create strategic advantage. So invest there, use your quick wins, free up the cash, invest here. These two at the bottom, they're not currently painful, but you do just need to keep an eye on them, because as you grow, that edge case that happened once every 3 months becomes once every 6 weeks, becomes once every week, becomes once an hour. Okay, so just keep an eye on those and keep them under review. So that's really the high level process. How long have I got? About 4 minutes? 2 minutes. Okay, all right. Well, in that case, well, what should we do? I did have a bunch of tips and hints here, which I might have to share after the fact on LinkedIn. So perhaps we can just head straight to questions. I'll just skip all this other useful information and go straight to questions. Does anyone want to volunteer a question?
What are the hints and tips you give us?
Can you see the hints and tips? Oh, Jesus Christ. I've got... Okay. All right. I mean, I've got now a minute and a half to get through about 20 minutes of content. Elephant carpaccio, dealing with hard to fix problems, split them up into small problems. Okay, this is the key skill. If you take away one hint and tip, this is the key one. Yeah, elephant carpaccio. If you want to eat an elephant, who was it? Russ mentioned elephants in his talk. But if you want to eat an elephant, you can't eat it in one go, so you just slice it up into carpaccio, no problem, and then you get through it. What it means is you break down your tasks. This is the key skill of problem solving. It's the key skill that we try and test for when we're taking on new people at Switchplane, whether that's for coders or for the management team. And that's why we list out in the business process mapping. That's the kind of the first steps, splitting make money out into the different tasks that your business does. That's elephant carpaccio happening. Yeah, easy communication. I mean, this is an easy one. If you make it easier for your people to talk to each other, then you're going to have a more successful business. I moved house this year. Everyone's always waiting for information from someone else. God, people are literally rolling your eyes there. Yeah, if you can make it easy to communicate, let people go directly to the source of the information, you'll have a more successful business. Maybe time for one more, which is we call external delegation. This is where you make your customer do the work. Love this one. You make your customer do the work. So I've got some examples here. Self-checkout in Tesco. They're making you do the work. Also Moonpig. Anyone designed their own card? Moonpig. IKEA. You have to build the damn thing yourself. Carvery. Yeah, everyone. Carvery. Buffett. You have to go and get your own food. I mean, it's outrageous. Charities. Those well-known charities, aren't they? They delegate a lot of their fundraising to their supporters, and people literally will swim the channel to raise money for them. Okay, I mean, exploitative organisations, aren't they? Charities. Right. Lewis is holding up the sign. That's me. I'm Joel. Thank you for listening. Do give me a shout if you have any questions.